The 13th article of faith states, "We believe in being honest, true, chaste, benevolent, virtuous, and in doing good to all men. Indeed, we may say that we follow the admonition of Paul. We believe all things, we hope all things, we have endured many things, and we hope to be able to endure all things. If there is anything virtuous, lovely, of good report, or praiseworthy, we seek after these things." A lot of time this semester, we've been learning especially a lot about that last phrase. If there is anything virtuous, lovely, good report, or praiseworthy, we seek after these things. And as I've been studying mass media in society, and especially as I've become to study forms of entertainment in the media, such as movies and TV shows and music, I've started analyzing these movies that I love, this music that I love, the TV shows that I love, and seeing how they measure up to the 13th article of faith. Especially because we've been able to have the opportunity to study Dr. Kevin Call's model on this, that just talks about, and it measures how media and movies and entertainment today, how it can be really successful, and how it's widely accepted, and how much praise it receives, and how that lines up with if it's virtuous, lovely, good report, and praiseworthy. So I started thinking about a few movies that I feel like fit into all sorts of different spots in this spectrum. Now you can start with movies that really can't be argued as not being virtuous, lovely, good report, praiseworthy, and those are movies that are produced by Christianity or by Christian organizations, including the LDS Church. You can think of like Bible videos, Prince of Egypt, and videos like that. Or you can think of LDS films that are like The Best 2 Years and things like that. And these movies can't really be argued to not be virtuous and lovely, but at the same time, they aren't as widely accepted, especially in today's world. So there are then movies that are oftentimes still pretty Christian-centered, and they can also receive a little bit more praise and be a little more widely accepted. One of the examples that I found with this was based off a Nicholas Sparks book, and it's called A Walk to Remember. And many people have heard of this movie. It's a little bit older. It's one of the first Nicholas Sparks movies, and the thing about it is it's about Christianity, and it's about this girl who is very Christian. She's also ill, and she's going to pass away, and she runs into this bad boy, and they fall in love, and she teaches him about charity and about God, and then they end up getting married, and she dies, and he has found God, right? So this movie, it did receive a little more praise. It's based off a book, and a lot more wide of a population would like to watch this movie. And it was virtuous, lovely, it has a good message, but at the same time, it's just not quite as widely accepted. It makes me think about how some directors, as we've learned in our class, will go through certain steps and put certain things in movies to make their movie PG or PG-13 as opposed to G or PG, because more people will just surprisingly watch it if it has a little bit more controversial content in it. So I actually don't even like this movie, even though all of my friends and family do. But it's just because I think it's a little cheesy and things, and I, for some reason, have harsh standards when it comes to just movie direction and things like that. And I'm a little too critical sometimes of cheesy storylines. But then I thought of movies that are complete opposite spectrum, like truly not virtuous, lovely, good report, and not praiseworthy to our standards, though definitely to the world's. And I thought of a movie that came out my sophomore year of high school called Pitch Perfect, and it received a lot of praise across the globe, and everyone loved it. And it's rated PG-13 for sexual material, language, and drug references, and that's basically the whole movie. It has a lot of vulgar language and references, but at the same time, it tries to carry through a nice message. It tries to carry through the message of just being yourself and allowing change to happen, and kind of breaking the mold of being perfect in the world's view, and how you can do really great things by being uniquely you. But at the same time, one of the biggest reasons that it was so successful is just because of the humor that the scriptwriters put into it, or that was improv by certain actors and actresses. And these things that were inappropriate, vulgar, not good report praiseworthy, those parts of the film are really what made it super well received by so many different audiences, as I've studied different reviews online about that movie. I think of other movies like The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which has great messages and tries to help people understand things that are outside of themselves in the world, but at the same time, this movie has a lot of drug references and talks about very, very serious things, because it tries to be a little bit more raw and vulnerable. The movie I decided to really concentrate on is a different film than these, though, because I tried to think about what movie have I seen in the theater and left the theater thinking, wow, that was just amazing, and my mind was blown, and I wanted to watch it immediately again. And one of the movies that came to mind I saw about 4 years ago, and it's called Now You See Me. And actually, maybe I saw this like 6 years ago. It was a while ago, but it became one of my favorite movies, and when I left the theater, I was like awestruck. And as I began to analyze this, I wondered, first off, why I left the theater feeling that way, and I realized it was because it was funny, it had a lot of good content, the script was really great, the dialogue between characters was great, the cinematography was great, the special effects were great. I just loved the style of the film. They had a great cast and all sorts of different things. A lot of actors and actresses that I've always loved were in this film, and I just discovered that these were a lot of the reasons that I praised this film so highly. And another reason is it was very unique. It was a very different idea, and it had a lot of just very abstract ideas that I had to really think about, and I love films that kind of make me think, and a lot of people do. And so this film had that, and it also had humor, and it definitely catered to lots of different audiences. And it is rated PG-13, and it's rated PG-13 for language, some action, and sexual content. And although some of these things are minor, I think they're definitely put in intentionally. And that also makes it just difficult for us to view this and try and think, how is this virtuous, lovely, good report praiseworthy? Because this film is actually about Thor magicians that are performing a bunch of heists, and the FBI can't capture them, and they're all criminals. They're all wanted and for arrest and things like that, and trying to be captured and dodging it. And you find yourself cheering along with these criminals in the movie, and I find very few people that are cheering the other ways, for the other side of things. I think of a television show I once saw where a school teacher likes watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and she cheers for the principal because she thinks that Ferris is a lawbreaker, a rule breaker. And when everyone else watches Ferris Bueller's Day Off, very few of them are cheering for Mr. Feeney, the principal. And when you watch movies like Ocean's 11 or The Italian Job, which are a few more of my favorite movies along with my friends' favorite movies, and these are all movies where you cheer for the criminals. But I think the reason people love these movies, the reason they're praiseworthy in the standards of the world, is just because of those different factors that I didn't even realize go into making me love a movie. And I didn't even realize, I always assumed, oh, the movies that are my favorite must be my favorite because of the message they have and that they're virtuous, lovely, good report, and praiseworthy. And turns out that's not necessarily the case. So it was really interesting to analyze these movies and to start thinking about what makes you like a movie and how they measure up to Dr. Call's model of a movie, and where its praise lies with the world and where it should lie with us.